We got 50 minutes, Baruch Hashem, to learn some Likutei Moharan from the Rabeinu Nachman and Faiga Simcha, Torah Mem Hey. Put a bookmark there, Baruch Hashem, in the Likutei Moharan, 45th Torah. Ma, Bittul, Mechas Kapayim B'Tefillah. So we're clapping our hands while Tefillah. We're continuing this theme that we already had in the previous Torah. It's a famous Yidua that the three Torahs of Mem Daled, Mem Hey, and I think Mem Vav also, all continuing this focus, and Rav Nosson combines them in one prayer, the three levels of clapping while praying. So apparently there was a similar time that Rabeinu Nachman gave this Torah, and it's very appropriate right now with this man we're in Baruch Hashem, the Siyam of Chodesh Sivan, the Machane Yehuda. The whole Machane Yehuda is, we'd already learned, is Yehuda Sos Chazvulin. It's about making good business, and Bez Hashem, part of business is in the Chodesh of Zvulin, as we come towards Tammuz, fix up the way we perceive things. Reuven is about breaking to break through. This is from Gedalia Fencer's book before we begin the Torah from the Likutei Moharan. Don't shoot too low. You're not going through an addiction, you're growing through an addiction. This is from Gedalia Fenster, yeah? You're growing through an addiction. Don't just aim for sobriety, aim for spiritual awakening. You went through enough darkness, now it's time for major light. Your rock bottom became your foundation. Your breaking point became your breakthrough point. What tried to destroy you is now the very thing that transforms you. We should be learning Rav Sodek that the whole os of Tammuz, of Ches, talks about Zion, we're going to talk about it when we learn Rav Sodek. Ches is the union of Choshech. First time the Choshech is in the Torah is right at the beginning in Bereshit, so it's about transforming from the Choshech to the light, to the Or. So this isn't a time, like for example the Torah from Gedalia is not exactly how we hoped would be in the summer. MENACHEM, someone else reached out, Charles Blinkhoff, so we might try to figure out some of that time with him. But Koirach is a time where the key is not to enter into machlokas and to transform the struggle, the pain, the breaking point, to break through. So addiction does not define you, it refines you. The fall wasn't the end, it was the start of something deeper. Every step you've taken through God is now part of the light you're meant to give. You didn't just survive, you were rebuilt. You've seen what doesn't work, now build a life that does. Your lowest moments wasn't failure, it was doorways to purpose. Let the pain through your transformation. Let your story become someone else's hope. So this is the avoda right now, but a hafachu, we already have Chav Gimel, Likutei Halachos. You can listen to yesterday's share as well about really the Sadik is the key. So we're going to now learn Rabeinu Nachman's Torah. Ki ayadei in this Orim Bechinas kind of fire. This rouses the aspects of wings when you clap your hands, like to Rabeinu Nachman. Clapping your hands is arousing the aspect of wings. Shemisham bo adibo. From the spoken word is where the wings come. Kamosha Kosev. Bao kind of find Yagid Dava. It says in Kehelis, for a winged creature will tell the word. So we know from the Baal Shem Tov, and all the Tzaddikim from Chassidish Torahs, that the key is you have to have a hava and yiri, you have to have wings. The Torah has to go up. You can't just stay down here. It has to fly. Ksiv yidei adam metakas kanafeim. They had human hands below their wings. That's in Yecheskel. So MENACHEM, I'm also learning in the Daf Yomi right now about the Kapuris, about the Esther Tefachim. Remember we learned that they're on Kodesh. So it goes on to say in the Daf Hey, the idea that it starts to learn out from the Panea Kapuris, but it also talks about the wings, the special wings. And we know that that's where the Shechina was showing. So we know that this is important, the wings. He says here underneath, he says that Rabeinu Nachman brings the importance of clapping hands, improving the effectiveness of Tefillah. And the words and wings are connected, that the person's prayers fly up from his lips in an orderly, shlemus manner, affected. So the prayer should always send before Hashem in purity, worthy of being accepted unto. That's good tefillas. The Midrash explains the winged creatures fly to the fiery angels that bear witness before Hashem. Okay, let's rub.
I'm sorry for Mechias Kaf.
Yeah. Mechias Kaf.
באיזה עניין עובד, because it means להעביר עובד את ישראל.
Yeah, that's what we learned in the previous Torah.
So if I'm in Eretz Yisrael,
because we have to purify the air of Eretz Yisrael, because unfortunately we bring, we're still in a state of birurim, of purifying the air of Eretz Yisrael, that we brought a non-Eretz Yisrael air with us, and we're on our phones or connected to the world, we're globalized, so you have to constantly misoira the Aveh of Eretz Yisrael. Here it's talking about it's the Indian of purifying your tefillahs like wings, like to send them up, to Sudah, elevate your tefillahs, they should fly. It says in Kelis Rabbah, in this first having our prayers come before Hashem requires awakening of the aspect of wings. So human hand below, this is the hands below. Nitza sha'idei odem this oira b'yadayim shelo, as kind of fire this oira. And the wings rouse the lungs. There's some sort of connection to, and this is something Rabeinu Nachman was very deep about understanding the connection of lungs. I think that was one of the ways is he had sickness in the lungs. He was very, very sensitive to the whole kudura of how the body works, and breathing and the lungs. There's a spoken word involves Shemisham Nisave Dibur. But it's still necessary to misachin the peh, to rectify the mouth, the kabo etz adib v'sochem, to receive the spoken word within it. So lungs.
Because the lungs has the air inside.
Yeah, that's the lashon re'eh, wings, re'eh. Carries the words above. The words.
From the dibur.
Yeah, through the trachea, the air exhaled by the lungs, and the way the lungs are likened to wings. It's interesting, if you look at lungs, they're similar to the way wings look. If you look at an x-ray of lungs, that's how they look. They're lungs, wings. Prayer that rectify the mouth, spoken word prayer that originates within the person being sexed through the lungs and trachea. But if the mouth that utters this word is not as it should be, we lack in the merit to send before Hashem. So how does a person make sure his words have kind of fire and like wings? It's through rectifying mouth. How? Through clapping. So Rabeinu Nachman is going to explain this. This is going to get more into this Indian. Kaf al kaf. Clapping the hands. Yeah, it's like a makkah. Yeah. Is hava peh. This rectifies and makes seder with the mouth. Every hand has 5 fingers. And when you're striking the hands, it makes light. It brings light. Yad yamin b'yad small. The right hand against the left. Yeah, that's a big thing with the Bav Rebbe. Very emphasized the yad yamin al yad small. Like this. Not like this. I know, Hamishim Pam Hamishim. And then that would make it 5 times 5, Gematria Esim Hamishim. 25. Because Yad, al Yad, it's more B'Yad Yamin, Hamisha Pam Hamisha, Gematria Gamkein Esim Hamish. Shnei Pamim Esim Hamisha, Gematria Hamishim. Zeh Bechinis Hamishim Pam Yisir Tzayim, Shazisk Niska B'Toira, Yodei Bechinis Yovu Yotzim Megalis Mitzrayim. It's Benedict. He managed to get from clapping the hands to the 50 times Torah is mentioned in the Yisrael is mentioned in the Torah, which is connected to Yovel, which is Chayris, Allah.
So it's going to be coming back to the next story.
Yeah, Bez Hashem. That's very deep, exactly how this all works. You're going to have to think about this a little bit and learn about it. So let's see what it says in the parish. It says the Kabbalists and Mukabbalim teach that, and when Hashem created the world, He concealed His infinite light. That's what we're learning today in Rav Sodek. We'll see when we learn about it. As he said, Choshech and Or was Goines. It was hidden light. We didn't want the Rishayim to Chaparayan on the light. Moreover, as the creative process unfolded from above to below, it evolved at every stage a greater diminution of that light. This resulted in a greater concealment of separation from the divine at every successive level. As he went through the Simsumim, Rabbim, the whole Mitzias of Bris Olam was a hester, was a concealment. A process that culminated in the physical universe. And we have a Magushim Difadot, the physical world, the environment which carries by the greater concealment of the divine. Thus in the physical universe, God's infinite light is all but completely undetectable. though it remains the essence and root of all of it. The shoresh is all or. We know this by Inner Space, where Rabbi Kaplan talks about this. Very powerful sefer, that sefer. It's named Rabbi Kaplan. Oira is a term for the spiritual energy created when there is interaction by any two elements of creation or more. In addition, each light must have a keli, a vessel. There's oiris and there's keli, which within it to receive this light. This will become clearer as we go weiter in this Torah. 25 plus 25 is 50. The striking 5 fingers of the right hand against the 5 of the left creates 25 oiris, and again the interaction of the left with the right creates another 25. Clapping hands thus produce 50 oiris. And then the Yovel, the Jubilee, with Goddess Mitzrayim, the Egyptian exile, and describing the departure from bondage, the verse says that the Yidden left Mitzrayim, Chamushim. It's in Parashat B'Shalach. Chamushim is similar to Chamishim. 50 times mentioned in the Torah. The Zohar is masber that the Jews in Egypt were so submerged in 49 Memtes Shari Tuma that if it not for that 50th aspect, the Yovel, the Jews would never have been able to leave Mitzrayim.
That's the 50 is the time it's when they realized that they were
the Shleimus. When's the 50th? It's in Parshas Kisavo, in the Lashon of the beginning of the Parshas Bikurim, which is similar to the whole Haggadah is built on Parshas Kisavo, the Parshas Bikurim. So the 50th one is all about gratitude. Todah. Thank you, Hashem. And that's really what we have to do. As we were learning from Gedalia, the idea of the breakings is the breakthrough. The Goddess Mitzrayim leads to the Yetzias Mitzrayim, which leads to the Yovel, which leads to the Gula. We should count 7 sabbatical years. That's 7 times 7. Yeah, 7 Shemitahs times 7 is 49. Yeah, the period of the 7th will be 49, and then you shall sanctify the 50th year. That's Yovel, and there should be Dur Ba'aretz. Yeah, freedom in the land, and this is the Yovel. That's all the way in Parshas Bahar. Rabeinu Nachman in our context points to the connection of the 50 lights generated by clapping. 5 fingers times 5 is 25 times 2, because right to left, left to right, 50, and that brings us to the 50th level, which is the year of redemption. Constant gulas that we have every 50 years. And it's all to do with the ticking of the mouth.
Why? Because all the 49 years, Am Yisrael
Paro was Peira, bad mouth.
Yeah, and
you have to be like Moshe, which is it was same Osis as Hashem.
They were eliminated, they didn't talk.
It was a gula of speech. Pesach, mouth speak. Ikagalas Mitzrayim Hadiba B'Galas. B'Shil Zeh Hai Moshe Kavod Peh. Moshe had a heavy mouth, which once I made a siyum of Seder Moed with Tzaddikim. And I said, my Hebrew, my Lashon Kodesh, no lo kolkach. I was a milad, covered pair, they're like Moshe Rabbeinu. I was making a joke. I said it saves me from speaking Lashon Hara, from B'tul Zman, because I was in those days I was in a kollo of Rav Simaya. It was only people who spoke B'derech Klau, Yiddish or Lashon Kodesh or Hebrew. No one there to speak to about Lashon Hara, Baruch Hashem, because it was hard, it would break my teeth to speak. So I would just rather learn. So I was able to make a siyum and say the mode. YISRAEL goodness how bechinas peh. And this comes about through the mouth developing, yeah? As we said, the lungs and everything, right? Nimsa ayidei chamishim shai bin and nisave peh, zeh bechinas mi sam peh la'odem mi daika. So we know from the Torah, and we'll come back to this next week, who put the mouth in every person. And this was said to Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the one who gives us the mouth? Hashem Yisbarach. And me is Gematria 50. Who is Gematria 50? Me. So Hashem argued, he said, I'm covered peh, I can't be the shliach. So Hashem says to him, I'm the one who gives you the mouth. I'm the one who will fix you up. Yeah, I'll give you the ability to be the shliach. Yeah, you sometimes might doubt your shlichus, but Hashem's telling you, no, I'm giving you the ability to do the shlichus. So MENACHEM brings this from Moshe Rabbeinu. He's going to help us fix our Pesach. To not chas v'sholom use our mouth in a not good way. And then our tefillahs can be miskabel when, by clapping the hands, we bring this bechina, the 50th. Okay, so next week we'll continue. It's a short Torah, so we'll be Masayim the Torah next week. The main Likutei is we should be zocheh to have our tefillahs miskabel, to clap, tefillah should go up like Nafayim. We should fix our mouth. We should be zocheh to Mashiach. So kind of Mashiach is Mesiach, from speech. It comes from speech. Not tefillahs.